So for those who don't know, Brockhampton no longer exists. They retired in 2022, and since then I've been sad about that because Brockhampton was like my life for a long time. I think the leader, Kevin Abstract, is an amazing artist whom I've been following literally for years. I first discovered him on Twitter through his account back when Twitter was still Twitter, and every single thing about him and his artistic vision, even on social media, was so aesthetically pleasing to my eyes and ears because his music was something out of this world. And I just remember being so in awe of him, everything that he was doing in the industry at the time. 2016-ish, American Boyfriend, I think, is one of the greatest albums of all time. I remember seeing on Twitter when he was announcing Saturation as a mixtape, and then he changed it to an album. He started calling it like an actual studio album, and then he dropped the cover and the release date. I was there for all of it. You know, I lived through that era, completely obsessed. I was a Brockhampton stan 1000%. And then they started dropping a lot of music, a lot of videos, and I couldn't take my eyes off. I couldn't take my ears off. I honestly couldn't take my soul off. It felt like for a while there my soul belonged to them. My energy was like completely focused on them. I remember sleeping on my friend's couch one night listening to Saturation 1 with headphones. And you know, it's funny because their logo is a couch, so that was just iconic. I think an iconic real life moment. But I remember listening and being I think at the time I was like just sad and lonely and confused, but literally, this is gonna sound so cliche, but the music literally was talking to me. Like, it was like literally my friend. Saturation 1, and it was so fresh, and it was literally, I think it was the first time hearing it. Yeah, I was literally laying there in the dark. So Brockhampton means a whole lot to me because this was 2017, the story that I just told right now about being on the couch listening to Brockhampton. And I didn't put out my first official album until 2018. I think 2016 I put out like a mixtape on SoundCloud, but I don't really count that as my first full-on project, you know. I just remember them, you know, the group, the boys, inspiring me to do my own thing, start my own music career, and it just jump-started my creativity in a way that I can't explain. I think it's unfathomable, it's indescribable, it's not human, it's not like of this world. It's something supernatural or spiritual or like metaphysical. It's just something that I think is ingrained in all of us. At the end of the day, we all have the ability to create something from nothing, and we all have the spark and the heart to speak to other people through our creative mediums that we pick up on as children. And then as we get into the teen years, I think that's when we get bullied into pretty much being like our only friend. At least I felt that way in the early years of high school. And then when I graduated high school, or before graduating, when I was like 17, is when I first started writing my first serious songs, because I had my first like serious girlfriend at the time. And then going into college, she broke up with me, and that literally, that was the thing that made me put out music. Going back to Brockhampton, their sound and the way that they loved each other, their brotherhood, really meant a lot to me. I always found myself being extra vulnerable for some reason, and then when people wouldn't reciprocate that vulnerability, I would kind of hide in my shell, and I would feel offensive because I was like super sensitive and insecure about what other people thought about me, and I just wanted to be like accepted into a group, you know. But I found myself being kind of the outcast. So Brockhampton was like, I remember showing it to a former bandmate of mine and just being like so obsessed with them, where I'm like, why is nobody else listening to them? Why is nobody else as excited as me? And I don't know. It was just Brockhampton was just like something special that sparked so much nuance and creativity. Those boys are so hilarious, and their brotherhood, like I said, just really made me want to have like a real friend, like a real brother. I'll never forget this stamp that they made onto my creative brain, and I genuinely believe that if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, musically, because one of the things that I loved about them was the fact that they kind of they were genre defying. They were hip hop and rap, of course, but it was experimental, but sometimes it wasn't even experimental for experimental sake. It felt like they were literally living the music, and the music that they were making was literally what their lives were at the time. It was just a reflection of their lives, literally their lives. 5 months ago, I filmed a video that's actually on this channel where I submitted an application to Blush, and then yesterday, or yeah, last night, I submitted another application for as a creative assistant to Blush. So here's hoping that they get back to me. If they don't, I'm gonna be sad for a little bit, but you know, I'll get over it. I'll let the universe do its thing, and I'm not a fan of forcing things, you know. I never want to force things to happen in my life or on this channel or in any way, shape, or form. Forcing things is a dangerous and tricky thing that just causes more stress, more disappointment. If you kind of let things flow and let things be what they need to be. Here's hoping that one day Brockhampton can reunite. I think that would be a glorious day for me, and I would literally cry of excitement and hype. So thank you for watching this video on Brockhampton. Bye.